Commander, the Brimstone team has arrived, and they're not just another war squad. In this deep dive, I'll break down who to build, how to build them, and why they may be absolutely unskippable.
Hard, no cash to spend, free to play till the very end.
The Brimstone team is an alliance war team. They are going to be excellent on both offense and defense, with only Professor X base squads standing as their Achilles heel. But here's why they really matter. Brimstone is the Final Conqueror's team for Act 2, and they are very likely to become the crossover team for Act 3. That means even though they're labelled as a war team, they are definitely not skippable. And here's another reason. This is what the Command Center told us directly. Build the new Brimstone team to conquer Battle World and Alliance War and secure your progress in the finale of Age of Annihilus Chapter 2. Now, I actually called this back on the 18th of September. I predicted that Brimstone would be both a Battle World and a war team based on last year's release plan and the planned release of Battle World 2 in Q3 of 2025. Here's my theory. I think Brimstone was originally designed as a Battle World first team, just like Astral, probably with some awakened abilities, but somewhere along the line they pivoted. Maybe awakened abilities didn't sell as well as expected, maybe the dev workload was too high. Instead, they've launched Brimstone as a straight up war team, and I expect the Alliance War game mode to be active on the nodes that require the use of Brimstone in Battle World, which will give them access to their full kits. So that's the bigger picture. Let's dive in to each member of the team. So first up, we have Strange Heartless. He is the first of the reworked members, and you can find him in the Arena store and on Node 5.9 of the Villains Hard campaign. Him being in the Arena store means he can be an early farm and it's a safe farm due to being that cross-chapter team, even for new commanders. And his basic Supreme Blast is going to attack the primary and adjacent targets for 220% piercing, and it is going to flip 2 positive effects to negative effects. This attack cannot be blocked. The T4 on this one is going to add an additional 60% piercing to the primary and secondary targets. But as it is a damage-based T4, I think this one is completely skippable if you are suffering for T4 ability materials. Iconic Blast is Doctor Strange's special, and you are going to be able to use this on turn 1. This is going to copy and clear 2 positive effects excluding taunt from the primary target to self. If charged, it will copy and clear all positive effects excluding taunt from the primary target to self instead. Now, it is very important that this line is at the beginning of this text, because this means that if your opponent does not have Safeguard, but they do have defense up, offense up, other abilities like that, speed up, Doctor Strange will get rid of them on his opponent and copy them to himself. He will then attack the primary target for 320% damage. So that 320% damage, if your opponent had offense up and they had defense up, you would have got rid of both of those abilities. So that 320% damage will be being affected by offense up, which Strange has stolen. He's then going to apply slow for 1 turn and reduce their speed bar by 10%. And he will gain 500% extra focus for this attack. Now, the T4 on this one is going to give 80% damage to the primary target, and that is not the reason why we are putting a T4 on this. The reason we are putting a T4 on this is because of this next line. Reduce speed bar of primary target by plus 15%. That is a 25% speed bar reduction, and because of that, this T4 is essential. Demonic Embrace, this is his ultimate, and this is the ticking time bomb. This is going to make him gain 3 charged. He is then going to attack all enemies for 240% damage. Doesn't sound a lot, does it? Until the next line. Plus 30% damage per positive or negative effect on self and the primary target. This attack is unavoidable. That's right. That is 30% damage for every positive effect or negative effect that Strange has on him and on the primary target. The T4 on this one is massively high value because it is adding 60% damage to all enemies. So that is 300% damage. But the big thing here is the plus 20% damage, making that a 50% damage per positive or negative effect on self and the primary target. That is an extremely high value T4, almost close to essential. It is certainly one that I have done on my Doctor Strange from his Darkhold days. And his passive, Heartless, on turn, if this character has charged, he is going to heal himself for 20% of his max health. Obviously, with this rework and these post-area stats, that is a fair-sized heal. He will then lose 1 charge. At the end of any Brimstone or Darkhold ally turn, he's going to barrier that character for 10% of this character's max health. And if charged, barrier all Brimstone or Darkhold allies for 10% of his max health. Again, that new stat meta means that that max health is going to be pretty big, so that is going to be a fair size barrier. On enemy death, if this character has offense up, gain speed up, and he's going to gain offense up on enemy death as well. He's going to gain 25% crit chance and crit damage. Brimstone or Darkhold allies are also going to gain plus 25% crit chance and crit damage. And I have the passive down as an essential. And that is because he is going to gain an additional 25% crit chance. So that is 50% crit chance and crit damage for himself and all Brimstone or Darkhold allies, and plus 5% to that barrier. So that is a 15% barrier rather than a 10% barrier. That is absolutely devastating, especially when you combine it with that Demonic Embrace and the ISO that we are going to put on him. So with that ticking time bomb of damage and that turn meter rewind, this makes Strange Heartless a solid investment. Next, we have Elsa Bloodstone, the second of our reworked characters. She is farmable in the raid store and on Nexus 5/6. So another great early option. And her basic Bloody Good Guns is going to attack the primary target for 35% piercing and then do a bonus attack 5 times for 35% piercing. The T4 on this one I have down as nice to have. And the reason for that is because that 40% damage there to the primary and secondary targets, that means 75% piercing. With those extra 5 attacks, that is a hell of a lot of damage coming in there. So an unusual plus damage stat that I would put on to a character for a basic attack. Trick Shot, this is her special, and this isn't available on turn 1, but it is going to attack the primary target for 260% damage. It is also going to attack the most injured enemy for 310% damage, ignoring taunt and stealth. The T4 on this one is just a damage boost. It is 60% damage extra to the primary and secondary target. But as it is just that damage and it's not piercing damage, that makes this completely and utterly skippable. Save your T4s. Scatterguns is her ultimate, and this is going to be what you are going to kick off with. You are going to gain offense up for 2 turns It's then going to attack the primary target and the adjacent targets for 250% damage, plus 15% damage per Brimstone ally. We're not going to worry about the Dark Hunter or the supernatural allies, as that is not the team we're putting her with here. Characters killed by this attack cannot be revived. Very, very key. That is going to deal with characters like Dormammu. That'll deal with characters like Old Man Logan. All of those key characters that gain revive once. In war, clear all death proof from targets before the attack. So if they did have death proof and revive once, well, they're not going to get that anymore. This attack cannot be blocked. And the T4 on this one, I have down as high value. It is going to add an additional 30% damage to the primary and adjacent targets. But the real big thing here is that plus 30% damage per Brimstone, Dark Hunter, or Supernatural ally. That makes that 45% damage per ally. That's an extra 180% damage. That is a big damage stat increase. Curses on miss or ally miss. This is her passive. If this character has 3 Brimstone allies, attack the target for 220% piercing. On enemy dodge, it's also going to attack that enemy for 220% piercing. She's going to gain plus 10% crit chance. Mystic allies, which is pretty much the majority of her team, are going to gain 10% crit chance. Gain 10% accuracy per Brimstone, Dark Hunter, or Supernatural ally. We don't need to worry about the Dark Hunter or Supernatural though. The T4 on this one, which I have down again as high value, is going to add 50% piercing. So that is the on ally miss or on miss against her. It is going to do 270% piercing. On enemy dodge, it's going to give the attack for 270% piercing. And she's going to gain plus 10% accuracy per Brimstone ally. So that is 20% accuracy per Brimstone ally. That is going to make her really good at dealing with things like Spider Weaver and other things that put up those charges and stuff like that. That means your attacks can automatically miss. Third, and arguably the best member of the Brimstone team, is Daimon Hellstrom. He is a speed demon who is going to punish support and controllers with ability block. He's going to strip revive once, barrier. He's going to restore energy to his team on kills. He is the absolute MVP of this squad. And his basic soul piercer is going to attack the primary target for 170% piercing and chain to one adjacent target for 170% piercing. Remember, that chain can be stopped by stealth, so we do need to be aware of that. It's also going to gain offense up and apply assist now to a random Hellcat ally. Quite good. However, the T4 on this is only going to add an additional 30% piercing damage to the primary and the secondary targets. And because of that, that can be skipped. Next up is Beckoning Inferno, his special, and this is going to clear barrier on all enemies. He's going to attack all enemies for 250% piercing, plus 10% of each target's max health. That is absolutely insane. The T4 on this I have down as essential because this is going to add an additional 50% piercing to all enemies, so that is a 300% piercing. But the main thing here is that it is going to clear all battlefield effects on the allied side. So on your side, it will clear any battlefield effects. That is your Odins, your Gnolls, all of those characters, their battlefield effects are gone. Hellstorm, this is his ultimate, and you are going to be able to start with this ability. He is going to start by flipping offense down on self. That is really good. And that'll flip to offense up. He's then going to attack all enemies for 350% piercing. And on kill, he is going to repeat this attack. Now, if you have been playing as long as I have, you will remember the days of Icarus. And his attack was devastating. And Daimon's is going to be just as good. It's then going to apply Disrupted and Trauma to all enemies. In War, he's going to clear Revive once from all enemies. He's going to apply Ability Block to all support and controller enemies. And this attack will gain 1000% extra focus against support and controller enemies. So he really does not like those support and controller enemies. This attack also ignores defense up. So if you've got offense down on you, you are going to be gaining offense up, and it is going to be ignoring defense up. That is truly, truly devastating. In War, this attack cannot be counterattacked, dodged, or blocked. The T4 on this one, which is absolutely, again, essential, is plus 50% to all enemies. That's not really the reason we're taking it. However, 400% piercing damage, yes, please. In War, if no character has completed a turn this match, this character has 3 Brimstone allies and does not have Exhausted, he will reduce the duration of all positive effects by 2 to all enemies. Now, that might seem a bit weird, but Daimon has an insanely high speed stat, so he should be going first, especially in War. And Hell's Son, this is his passive. On enemy death, heal self for 25% of this character's max health, so he has his own heal. He is going to spill speed bar by 25%, and he is going to generate 1 ability energy for 1 Brimstone ally or self who was not at full energy on the start of this turn. In War, if he's got 3 or more Brimstone allies, and I really like that 3 or more, that does give us some theory crafting positioning here with this. Support and blaster enemies cannot gain charged. Enemies excluding Mephisto cannot have their speed increased except by positive effects and rage. Enemies cannot have their resistance increased except by positive effects. The focus and damage of this character can only be reduced by offense down, which when you do the ultimate will be flipped to offense up. The T4 on this one, again, I have put down as essential because this says in War, if this character has 3 or more Brimstone allies, Mephisto enemies cannot have their speed increased except by positive effects and rage. That's huge. That stops Mephisto's 666% speed stat that he gets, which means that Mephisto is not going to go first. And on enemy death, he's also going to generate that 1 energy for 2 Brimstone allies or self. Absolutely, absolutely 100% essential T4. Now, if you are going to build just 1 Brimstone character first, you want to make it Daimon Hellstrom. Our 4th member of the team is Hellcat, and this is the team's debuffer. She's going to dish out stun, ability block, blind, trauma. She's especially dangerous against blasters like Odin. And when on her team, she's also going to block speed bar manipulation for enemies and also stop death proof, speed up, and assist now. And her basic claws out is going to attack the primary target for 150% piercing. In War, if this character has 3 or more Brimstone allies, on crit, apply ability block. That is brilliant from a basic attack. Black Panther Shuri, basically. Apply assist now to a random Daimon Hellstrom ally. And the T4 on this one, I have put down as skippable as it is only that additional 30% piercing damage. Catastrophic Cuts is her special, and you are going to be able to open with this ability. It is going to attack the primary target for 190% piercing and apply 2 bleed, heal block, and disrupted. This attack is going to ignore defense up, and in War, it cannot be blocked. The T4 on this one, which I have down as a high value T4, is going to be adding 60% piercing to the primary target and apply trauma to the primary target. That is pretty good, but it is only a single target trauma. Feline Fury, this is her ultimate. This is going to clear 2 negative effects from self. Very nice. Attack the primary target for 310% piercing and apply the following for 2 turns. 2 bleed, heal block, and disrupted. That is awesome. She's then going to chain to 4 targets within infinite spaces of the previous target for 310 piercing. That's pretty good, because that chaining with infinite spaces, that means that she can bypass anyone with stealth. And it is also going to apply the following for 2 turns: the 2 bleed, the heal block, and the disrupted. In war, if this character has 3 or more Brimstone allies, if any secondary target is a brawler, it is going to apply stun to them. And if this character has 3 or more Brimstone allies and the target is a blaster and they don't have trauma, it's going to apply ability block for 2 turns and blind for 2 turns to that character. And this attack cannot be counterattacked or blocked. The T4 on this one is absolutely essential. Plus 90% piercing to the primary and secondary targets. That's 400% piercing damage. As we said, that is a lot of damage, especially on these new stat characters. But the main thing here is that it is going to apply stun to the primary target, and then it will apply trauma for 2 turns to the primary and secondary targets. Infernal Feline, this is her passive, and on spawn, if this character has 3 or more Brimstone allies, she's going to generate 2 ultimate ability energy for herself. That does mean that Feline Fury will be online turn numero uno. In war, when an enemy uses their basic ability, if that character has ability block, it is going to attack the most injured enemy, ignoring taunt and stealth with this character's special Catastrophic Cuts at level 3. In war, if this character has 3 or more Brimstone allies, enemies cannot fill or reduce speed bar for themselves, allies, or enemies. That is huge. Enemies cannot gain death proof, speed up, or assist now. Ever so sorry, Odin, you're out of luck. The T4 on this, which is again essential, is in war, when an enemy uses their basic ability, if that character has ability block, attack the most injured enemy using this character's special Catastrophic Cuts at level 7. So that will be that there, which is going to be the 250% piercing, 2 bleed, heal block, disrupted, ignores defense up, cannot be blocked, and is going to apply trauma to them. Hellcat's control is going to make her an absolute nightmare for any opponent in war. And finally, we have Living Mummy. This is the team's tank and protector. On his turn, he's going to gain Taunt and Safeguard when he has Revive once, and he is going to provide a team-wide drain and speed, which is going to keep the team very, very durable. And his basic Crypt Strike is going to attack the primary target for 220% damage. And when this character performs an ISO 8 attack, counter attack, or an assist, the damage of that attack is piercing. So that makes this 220% damage become piercing damage. And if he has Revive once, he's going to gain counter attack and speed up. And he's going to heal himself for 15% of this character's max health. The T4 on this is just going to add the 30% damage to the primary target. And as it is just that very small damage increase, I think this is a T4 you can easily skip. Calling the Obelisk, this is his special, and this is going to attack the primary and adjacent targets for 330% damage. This will be available turn 1. It's going to give him 3 counterattack and 3 evade. It will clear 5 negative effects from himself and all Brimstone allies. That's huge. It's going to apply defense up to self and all Brimstone allies. Again, even huger. Heal him himself and all Brimstone allies for 20% of this character's max health. And the T4 on this one, which is absolutely essential in my mind, is going to add that 70% damage. We really do not mind about the damage. The big thing here is that this is going to apply Safeguard to self and all Brimstone allies. So all of a sudden, once he's taken a turn, we have defense up and Safeguard. The ultimate Wrath of Antiquity is an ability that will be available for you on turn 2. But remember, we have Daimon, so this could be a turn 1 ability. This is going to attack the primary and adjacent targets for 500% damage. It will gain 3 evade and apply speed up to self and all Brimstone allies. That is why he is so good. That speed up is going to be very key. This will also heal himself and all Brimstone allies for 15% of this character's max health. And the T4 on this one, again, I think this is completely and utterly essential. Plus 100% damage, so that is 600% damage. That's quite big. But the main thing here is that he is going to gain revive once. And that is important because of his passive, Mummy's Curse. On spawn, he's going to gain 2 counterattacks. And on any turn, if this character has revive once and does not have taunt, he's going to gain taunt and safeguard. He's also going to heal himself for 15% of his max health. On revive, he is going to clear 3 negative effects from himself and all Brimstone allies. So you better hope you're going into this team with something with trauma. Revive with an additional 25% of this character's max health per Brimstone ally. So with the full team, he is coming back to life with full health. In war, Brimstone allies cannot gain taunt. Oh dear, Liberty, your big shtick has just gone down the toilet. In war, while this character has revived once, if this character or any Brimstone ally does not have defense up, that character gains a 25% damage reduction and 25% resistance. This character cannot gain bleed, ability block, stun, vulnerable, or regeneration. Regeneration is fine. Not being able to gain vulnerable though, not being able to be stunned or ability blocked, that's just insane. Gain 25% drain. Brimstone allies are going to gain 25% drain. And again, this T4 is absolutely essential. On spawn, gain revive once. So on spawn, he is going to have taunt and safeguard on any turn. And Brimstone allies are going to gain plus 7% speed. And that 7% speed is their speed stat. That's not their speed bar, that's speed stat. So that means that they are going to be going incredibly quickly. So if Daimon is the heart of the Brimstone team, Living Mummy is certainly the armor. And so here is the infographic of the full team that I have made. And this infographic will be available on the Jetson Squad Discord. Link to that will be, as always, in the description down below. Now, some things I want to discuss here. Build priority. I think Daimon is your #1 first to build in the team, even before you build those reworks of Elsa and Doctor Strange. He is also someone I would hugely recommend to use your power cores on if you are going to. Remember, this team is going to be that crossover team, so they are going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting early on in chapter 3 for you. Obviously, I'm recommending all the new characters to go to level 105 and gear tier 20, with the reworks going to level 105, gear tier 19 at a minimum. I do want to talk to you guys about the Living Mummy as well whilst we're here. Now, at low stars, you are definitely going to want to have the Fortifier ISO 8 choice on him. And that is because basically he is going to be a little bit squishy at those early 3 stars, 4 stars. But once you get to 5 stars, I am recommending Striker. If you are only going to put one ISO 8 class on him, Striker is the one to choose. Personally, however, I am going to put healer on him as well, because he has all those healing abilities in his kit. Healer might be something better for him in some of those PvE contents like towers, or if we have a pocket dimension for them or anything like that. Healer might actually be the more superior choice for him. One more thing we need to remember, and I want to stress this, I do not think this is a skippable team. Brimstone isn't just going to be for Alliance War. They are also going to be needed for Battle World. We have seen that, and they are almost certainly going to carry over into Act 3 for the Age of Annihilus. So that's the Brimstone team build guide, Commander. Let me know what you're going to do with this team in the comments below. But you're going to want to build them smart. You're going to then be ready for both Alliance War and Battle World. And if you want more great team guides, then why not check out these videos right here.